Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today I wanted to give y'all a tour of the Arena historic deck that I have been just smashing face with so far, and I've done some tweaks here and there to it, but I think it's right about time for me to go on ahead and show it to you guys. The commander of this deck is Anim Pakal, Thousandth Moon. So what she does is for a red and a white, she is a 1/2 legendary creature human soldier. Whenever you attack with one or more non-gnome creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on her, and then create X/1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of counters on Anim Pakal. So I wanted to do something really cool with this deck. I wanted to be a little different, and I'm really considering about turning this into a full-on paper deck, because for one, I don't have an actual factual Boros deck, but this is something that really just piqued my interest when it comes to Boros, and it's something that I don't usually do when it comes to Boros, because I built this around a secret commander, Winota, Joiner of Forces. Yeah, we all know what Winota does. She's a big and bad, and this doesn't have as many humans as I would like it to have, but we're not looking for humans. We're looking to try to get to where we got tons of creatures that aren't gnomes to make more gnomes. So how are we going? What are the other pieces of this deck? Well, Felidar Retreat puts counters on creatures and gives them vigilance, so we can swing with all our gnomes and Anim Pakal and not have to worry about the crackback. Swiftfoot Boots for protection. Impact Tremors. This was a recommendation from a former friend of mine, a former Magic player. He's still a great friend to me, and he suggested Impact Tremors and Goblin Bombardment, because what are you gonna do if you're like you got your opponent down to 3 life, but you have like 13 gnomes? Well, just go on ahead and just start flinging them at your opponent. Eventually, they'll see that you got them, and they'll just give up. But let's go on ahead and let me talk about this deck a little bit more. I have looked at an EDH rec for the past couple days just waiting for somebody to say something about this. And Winota is just a perfect fit for this deck, because on the arena, you only get to choose it once. It says when one or more non-human creatures. And on the regular version, it says whenever a non-human creature attacks, look at the top 6. So it triggers for each creature that is non-human. Well, in the paper version, when you go to combat and you attack with 3 creatures, and you're making 7 gnomes, well, you stack the triggers to where you make more gnomes with a Anim, and then you put the Winota trigger on the stack, and you just reap the benefits, because now you, instead of 6 gnomes, you have a lot of gnomes with humans coming in if you can get it. But let's go on ahead and continue the deck tech. I just really like to gush that I found this combination of Boros creatures that just work so hand in hand together. And if you like this idea, you're more than welcome to take it, and I will be dropping the Archidekt list of this deck into the description below. Now let me know what you guys think about this list. So for mana ramp, we have Mox Amber, Springleaf Drum, Wayfarer's Bauble, which is, I am so glad they added Wayfarer's Bauble to the arena, because it's so much nicer with it. Ambitious Farmhand doubles duty because it searches for a plains, which our deck is mostly consistent of, and it turns into a bigger creature so we can keep fighting with it. Clay Fired Bricks searches for a plains and gains 2 life. And you can make more gnomes later on, and it becomes an anthem if the game gets long. Birth of Meletus searches for a plains, and you can get a wall. Can't attack with it, but it's still there. Arcane Signet. Ecologist's Terrarium pulls double duty in this deck, because not only do you get to search for the land, but you can sack it later to put a counter on a Anim, which can come in handy later on. Environmental Sciences searches for a land, and you gain 2 life. Mind Stone, Ornithopter of Paradise, even though it does not have any power, it still has evasion that can trigger the Anim, which allows you to make gnomes. Alloy Mirror, I decided to try and find as many non-artifact, all the non-artifact based ramp that I could find, all the non-creature. There we go. So I had to throw in the little mirrors. Altar of the Pantheon, you can just choose a color. A Catcher's Monument makes warriors, and those aren't gnomes, so we can keep going. Palladium Mirror and Replicating Ring, because if that game goes long, you're just going to have a lot of mana. To round out the rest of the main strategy of the deck, we got a Soul Warden, because if you're making 7 gnomes, why not just gain 7 life out of nowhere? Frantic, cool. Fanatical Firebrand, Monastery Swiftspear. I wanted to go for creatures that had haste, that could get out and swing early. That way it could just like put a clock on the opponent as fast as I can. Phoenix Chick has the evasion of flying. Ginger Brute has been a clutch creature in this deck a couple of times because it can't be blocked. So you just keep swinging in with it. And you keep making gnomes. Archivist of Angma pulls double duty also. I mean, if you're going to search, you gain a life and draw a card. Intangible Virtue is an anthem. Thalia is one of those humans that can come in with the Winota if you have it on board. Charming Scoundrel, another one of those humans. And you get to loot, make a treasure, or create a Wicked Roll. Which the Wicked Roll really doesn't benefit us that much in this deck, but the loot and the treasure actually do. Young Pyromancer to make more different kinds of tokens. 10th District Legionnaire is just a 2 mana 2/2 with haste. That's really all it is, because I don't have a lot of enchantments that go on creatures. Devilish Valet. Now, I want to say something. I haven't been able to do it yet, but this would be great. But in this deck, because not only when you make and you attack with this, it has haste. So say this is later game. Devilish Valet is going to come in. You have a bunch of counters on Anim. You play Devilish Valet. It has haste. You swing with it. Guess what? Now all those creatures double its power. So like say you have 6 counters on Anim. You go to combat. You swing with the Devilish Valet. You add a counter to Anim. You make 7 tokens. And his power gets doubled 7 different times. Now, that's a lot of math, but still, it's really good. And with Trample, I've been really waiting to see what this does in this deck, but I really like the concept of it. Adaptive Automaton and Bloodline Pretender we're going to name Gnome, because if you can spit out 4 gnomes and turn a 2/2 into a 6/6, that's pretty good. Adaptive Automaton just makes all your gnomes bigger. Myrel of Shield of Argive is the priest. What is his name? Can't remember his name. It's the 2 mana, same thing as her, which makes more tokens later on when she attacks, and just makes it better, especially with cards like Mondrak that double tokens, or Ogier, Deepest Foundry that triple tokens. God Eternal Oketra is going to make, for every creature we cast, which we have a good bit of them, it's going to make a 4/4. And Divine, let's go to Blade Historian first. Blade Historian is going to give all of our attacking creatures double strike. And when he comes in, it applies. As soon as it sees that they're attacking, they get double strike. And then with all these tokens, what else are we doing besides making gnomes? Well, we're going to make angels instead of gnomes. Because why would you want to have 1/1 or 2/2 gnomes when you can have 4/4 or 5/5 flying angel creature tokens? That's dope. I haven't been able to do this yet either, but you know, when you've played 22 games and it's at a 63% win rate, you tend to not see a lot of cards most of the time. So now we're going to get into our card advantage section. And of course, you got to have the Esper Sentinel. I have routed for the Bitter Reunion and Thrill of Possibility, along with a Maze Mind Tome. Now these 3 right here, the Mentor of the Meek, the Welcoming Vampire, and the Rumor Gatherer, all pull a good amount of their own weight, especially since you if you play a Mentor of the Meek, what is that? 2. It hits with the Welcoming Vampire. If you play a Rumor Gatherer, it doesn't matter because you hit both of them. But if you play a Welcoming Vampire, and I just did this in a game, and you play the Mentor of the Meek, it triggers the Vampire. And it also, every single one of these, triggered by Anim, because her base power and toughness is a 1/2. And then, of course, we got the in the trenches, the 3 mana creatures get +1/+1 anthem, and along with some removal. So that's actually pretty good. You know, the 5 and a white is a little bit hefty, but if you're gonna transition this into a paper deck, in the trenches is actually pretty good with the good amount of mana ramp. So let's go in. What are we using to stop our opponents to get ahead, to try and get a foot up on our opponents? Well, we're going to use Authority of the Consoles to slow them down. A Curse of Silence, especially in this arena meta. Oh my goodness, I have had a couple people actually scoop on me because of Curse of Silence. Light of Hope destroys an enchantment, but if we don't need it, we can actually use it to put a counter on our commander. It's actually pretty good. Swords of Plowshares, it's an exile. Calamity's Wake is another silence type effect, and if we can win the creature battle, they're not going to be able to beat us unless they board wipe a lot. Cathar Commando is a body and removal. Disenchant for those pesky enchantments that we do not like seeing. It's Fateful Absence for your favorite Vorinclex that doesn't allow you to put counters on stuff. Ossification also for Vorinclex that doesn't let you put counters on stuff. And I'm going to say that for every single card that can target a non-land permanent, because Vorinclex, I got wiped out by Vorinclex one time with this deck. I was doing so good, and then the Vorinclex hit, and I was like, well, that's my game. And guess what? It was. So you need to pack a good bit of removal, especially if you're going for counters and trying to protect your commander and throwing other little dudes out on the floor. But other than that, we got Borrowed Time, Teferi's Protection, just to say nope to everything. Werefox Bodyguard is really good, especially since if they're about to board wipe, guess what? Hey, you can sacrifice it and it comes back to the battlefield, and now guess what? They get to destroy their own stuff. Farewell for that good exile everything. March of Otherworldly Light. It's an exile effect. You can't beat an exile effect, especially if you play as many white cards as we're playing, because we're playing a lot, but we're also playing a lot of artifacts. And then we have Shatter Skull Smashing. It doubles as a land drop if you need it, but it also can double as removal. This deck can go very far into the late game. If it's left alone, I've won plenty of games where I was not supposed to win it. Like, I started out, kept a greedy hand, and I ended up pulling through at the very end. But enough of that. Let's go on ahead to the mana base. We have a gorgeous Aganjo, 14 plains, 10 mountains, a Sokenzin Crucible the Defiance, because it does make those colorless spirit tokens. Battlefield Forge, Needle Verge Pathway, or Pillar Verge Pathway, Sacred Foundry, Bonder's Enclave, Command Tower, Demolition Field, Fabled Passage, Mana Confluence, and Volatile Fault. I think that's how it's said. But I have recently went from the Field of Ruin to the Demolition Field and the Volatile Vault. One, because Volatile Vault's one cheaper, and it gets you something back. Well, I mean, so does... Oh, excuse me. So does the Field of Ruin, but I feel like for Demolition Field, you want to just get your land back and destroy one thing, and that's it. You don't want to give your other opponents, especially if you're playing this in paper, you don't want to give your other opponents a land drop, an extra land drop, when you could have just been destroying one land. But I think we have just enough time to try and get one game in. What do you guys think? I'm going to go on ahead, and I was just recently playing Anim. hopefully we get to see what this deck does, because I really enjoy playing this deck, and it's just good fun to me. I really like the spamminess, the control aspect sometimes. What do you guys think about the Lost Cavern so far? I know I've been enjoying Anim a lot, and I do have a lot of people talking about the other cards, and we do have some of the Commander exclusive cards on Arena. If you didn't know, you kind of just have to look at where you have to find the exclusives. Oh man, no, not this. Oh, see, like this right here, this would be a greedy keep, but I'm gonna do it because that's a turn 1 Esper Sentinel. And I do have my assistant up. I really don't need it for this, but I like using it because it helps keep track of gameplay. So let's go on ahead and drop that turn 1 Esper Sentinel. And next turn we can bobble and something else, or we got removal. And what are they going to play? Are they going to play removal to get rid of the Sentinel? Or are they going to give me a card? Or both? Patient Zero. Okay, cool. So we got the land. Let's go on ahead and play the bobble. We're not going to do anything else. But yeah, I've enjoyed some of the pieces of this. I really enjoy the gameplay aspect of it. Oh, that's pretty good. Let's go on ahead and crack this for a red, because I need the red for Anim. And then we'll play our land drop for the turn. Let's ping him back. Let's make him think twice. But we are going to have Anim next turn. If he swings with the Patient Zero and doesn't play anything else, it's going to be pretty fun. Ooh, Undead Augur. Basilisk Collar, what? Pretty good. Good thing we got into Disenchant. It's going to play that mountain. Play that crazy mountain. And we can triple cast this turn. We're going to go on ahead and disenchant that Graph Harvest. Then we're going to swing for 1. Anim will come down next turn, and we'll have removal. So we ain't got to worry about it. And if he casts his commander, we'll have that ink. Oh, no blocks. Getting vicious. I see. Didn't even want to equip. That's so strange. Let's go Anim. Whatever. Counter. Yep. Let's hit control. We're gonna destroy that. We're gonna leave him a clue. So now he has to sack something else. Make him make the tough decisions. Will he let it through now that he can't sacrifice it? Or is he going to sacrifice one of those? Oh, he let it through. That's neat. That's awesome. We're going to play the Aganjo and the drum. Let's turn full control off. And now we swing with the bird, make the token, deal the damage. And that is how we start getting the game. That was a pro play, if I may say so myself. I don't usually think of stuff like that. We basically just made him have to sack it, though, which is pretty cool all the same. We cannot take any damage from that. Gleaming Overseer, making tokens. Playing Archidekt, huh? Oh, does he have a removal spell? Or is he going to give one of those Death Touch? No, he doesn't have the mana. Ooh. And we're steadily clocking in more... Some of both. Swinging in with more creatures. fine. We're good on blockers right now. As long as we keep the Phoenix chick, or we can keep swinging in with a bigger creature, we're good. He's going to give the patient 0 death touch. That's different. Well, we have a 3/4. The Scob. He's going to sacrifice. He's going to sacrifice that. Okay. Okay. I see what you're doing there. We're not blocking. Volatile. Let's crack that and get rid of that. Let's get us a land. Come on now. Let me get to the lands. We can do it. It's not that hard. Alright. Phoenix Chick, go. 3 impact tremor triggers. Then we go to blockers. A blockers. See, this is where that Goblin Bombardment would kind of been handy, where we could just like block and then sack it. It's actually a pretty good tech. I wish we had it, because then we could start really doing some damage. But we do have this 4/5 that we're not swinging with. Ooh, an Ashnod's Altar, you say? I don't see why you wouldn't pay for it. Oh, you didn't pay for it. Okay, okay, I see what you're doing. I don't, but I see what you're doing. Are you gonna pay for something big or something, or? Okay. I really like the wand. I don't see a lot of use for the wand most of the time, though. You are slowly trying to form your own army. I can dig it. I mean, it's the only one we're not going to block. You're going to make more zombies. That's fine. We're going to make more gnomes. Come on, give it to me. Pass it over. Okay, and we got 2 creatures. I just want to make it the most amount of creatures that I can to start pinging the mess out of them. Then we're going for 4 gnomes. And 4 impact tremors. We really just need those as blockers at that point. And if we could get an Anthem to where those become 2/2s, oh, it'd be great. We're at an even life total. Wonder what he's gonna do next. Sacking a zombie to sack a clue? No. Interesting. Come on, what you got? I don't care if I lose to a... Oh, sure you wanna... Ziggurat. I love Ziggurat, but it's selective. What you doing? You didn't make all that mana for Gisa and Giraffe, did you? Oh, okay. I'm not casting any spells right now, but okay, you know, do what you do. And I got 2 flyers I can attack with, so that's fine. Pick and choose which one you want to kill, I guess. He's sizing up his mana, I'm assuming. What do we got? If we could get like a Blade Historian, oh, it'd be just the nuts. Shambling Ghast, okay. Sacking it to kill the Sentinel. That's fine. But you're losing life in the process. Could have killed that, but you know, do what you do. Sacking it to kill the bird? I'm assuming he's killing the bird. Leaving me with little to no blockers, I'm assuming. Come on now. Oh. We're gonna put it in the command zone. That's some bull honky. But you get the gist of the deck. Let's see. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're good on that. Oh, we just got a message from one of the one of our guys that we play, that I usually play arena with. 2. Gosh. Alright, so we're just gonna do this. Are you gonna counter it? No, you're not gonna counter it? Impact Tremors. Cool. Yeah, that is a good game. We're gonna make some gnomes. It does trigger, doesn't matter. Impact Tremors. Well, that's gonna be a good game. Yep, we didn't get into any big anthems or any big flashy stuff, but you know, it is what it is. I do really enjoy this deck. This deck just went down a couple points in its standing though, but you know, you win some, you lose some, and I'm glad I lost against the zombie. Yeah, I mean, I gotta respect the zombies. Excuse me. Yep, with that, we're not gonna block. Go on ahead and deal all the damage. Yep. Yep, we have suffered a defeat. But like I said, it's a deck that I built it in like 30 minutes after seeing it, and like I really do enjoy playing the deck a lot. And like I said, the deck will be down in the description, the Archidekt list, and you guys are more than welcome to take it and do what you must with it to make it to where it's where you like it. But that is going to be it for today, everybody. And I appreciate everybody that's watching, likes, subscribes, comments. And I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.